guys, Dani here, and welcome back to Summer Skye Gardens. If you're new to my channel, I own a flower farm in Splendora, Texas. It's right northeast of Houston, Zone 9B. I am out at the farm today. We've had an unusual heat wave this week, which I'm super annoyed with, but it's supposed to cool back off next week. Thank God. I'm not ready for hot weather yet. It's been up in the 80s, but I have some things popping up, especially all my tulips. I'm rushing out here to harvest every day this week, but I figured I would give you guys an updated tour and show you what all's going on, how everything looks after the freeze and snow we had a couple of weeks ago, the little bit of the southern winter storm, what all I'm working on for this next week. So let's go take a look around. So here is my grow room and everything is popping off. This is the most seeds I have ever started at one time. Tons and tons of zinnias, but lots of warm annuals. Some of these, it's been a couple weeks, maybe going on 3 weeks. Some it's like their second week growing, but everything is doing phenomenal. I also have mum cuttings growing. This is like the first round that I did, so you can see they're putting on some nice growth. Already have some aphids in here I'll have to spray off later. But yeah, this is kind of like the first big round of my warm season annuals. So I will have a second and third round that won't be quite so many trays. But pretty much what I did is I went out to all of my rows outside and I'm filling in all the holes, like the sections of the beds out there that don't have cool flowers in them right now for, you know, whatever reason. And I'll be planting these early warm annuals out there. And then I'll be timing the next successions of warm annuals to pop in when the cool flowers are kind of at their end. I also have started a bunch of trays for the U-pick so that I can hopefully get that up and running maybe like in April. If you want a deep dive on how I start seeds and kind of my whole setup in here, I did a whole video which takes you through the entire process. I will link that below if you want to check it out. Let's head outside. All right, walking outside the house. This is the big like U-pick sunflower area. So I came in and I pulled back all of the fabric that was here. I had 14 beds, so fabric kind of in between those. And I just mowed down, lightly tilled up all of the old plants that were here. And then I extended it because I want to add some beds, hopefully get up to at least 20 so that I can grow a huge section of sunflowers, but also some other warm season annuals here for our U-pick. So I tilled it up once. I'm actually going to come through today, till it up again, and then I'm going to add my amendments, fluff it in, lay back out the fabric, and hopefully by the end of the month or beginning of March, I'll be, depending on the weather, I'll be transplanting some of the U-pick flowers that are growing inside, as well as direct seeding some sunflowers. Like I said, just depends on the weather. If it's kind of getting up toward the 70s during the day, then everything should do fine outside. Here's the kitties. There's our new kitty Pumpkin. I'm starting to let her outside so she can get her bearings, enjoy it. She can't stay outside when I'm gone, like Oreo. Sometimes he'll stay outside overnight. She is feisty. I've heard that orange cats can be crazy, and I would definitely agree. Pumpkin! I would definitely agree she's crazy, but in a fun way, and they're getting along very well. So I moved the wildflower area over here. You can kind of make out like the edge of it with all this green. Planted the wildflowers in the fall, and they are all growing nicely. They grow pretty slow over the winter, and once it starts to steadily warm up, then they'll start popping up. So a lot of them are putting on some growth right now this past week because it's been so warm, but they'll kind of stall out the next few weeks once it gets back cooler outside. And then by March, they'll really be putting on a lot of growth. And I think this will end up being like a really pretty area. We can get down kind of closer here. So all this green, this is all wildflowers. There's a little bit of grass here and there, but I killed most of this grass pretty well. So yeah, lots of flowers coming soon. I think this will be a really pretty area for people to just enjoy, walk around, and take pictures. As I've said in previous videos or clips, this right here is where I'm going to build my low tunnel probably this month to move and plant all my mums in. I've had them out here, which has been a good spot in general, other than they don't have any protection from the rain, and a lot of them get rain damage, and so I can't use some of the flowers. So I'm going to build a low tunnel here with plastic, which will kind of more protect them from the rain. So here we are over at the tulips. And you can see they've all pretty much started popping up, and a lot of them are putting out blooms, especially after this past week with our warm weather. Good Lord, warm weather, which I can't really complain about because it's Valentine's next week. So now I'll actually have a good chunk of flowers. Very, very exciting. And luckily I have my cooler, which I can put them in for a few weeks if I need to. Here is the straw flower. That's really putting on some nice growth with the warmth. You can see I'm starting to add T-posts up in here, and that's to add either netting or corralling depending on the flower. I bought a bunch more T-posts, which I'll be putting in today or over the weekend. Status, putting on some growth. This row is all the Lizzie-anthus. These will kind of grow slowly, but should be blooming by Mother's Day. Bummer, one of my varieties, I did have a handful die just because they were so teeny when I got them in as plugs from Farmer Bailey. A lot of them got messed up when I was trying to pull them out of the tray. Not their fault, more my fault, but they just weren't robust enough. But oh well, you kind of have to think that you're gonna have some loss whenever you're growing stuff. So let's see, snapdragons over there, direct sown poppies, don't really see much going on. This is the Tweedia, which is okay. It definitely got damaged from the freezing temperatures, but for the most part, most of them look like they're growing back. Unfortunately, I think I lost all my azuratum. They look like they died. Oh well, you just gotta take that happening sometimes. So let's go to the back area. Oh, and also real quick, this little section here, I got some cheap gladiolus bulbs from Costco, about 100. So I just came through and added them right there. I wasn't gonna grow gladiolus, but when I saw how inexpensive the bulbs were and the colors, they were kind of like a light red, pink color. I was like, oh, I'll add some in. So yeah, for the most part, these look good. Probably the biggest issue I had was losing a handful of the stalk in these two rows from the cold. Some of them still look great. A lot of them don't. But since I planted so many, I think I should still be okay. Over here, this is the Ami growing well. All back here are the Bells of Ireland. Those did fine. Here we have some cress. The snapdragons look a little rough. I will say some of them in the back look better, but one thing I like about snapdragons is because the seeds are so little, I usually end up sowing, you know, more than one in each section. So even if you get the original seedling not looking good, you'll start to get either some new seedlings popping up or some growth from the bottom. So yesterday I came through and I usually wouldn't pinch these, but this original area looked pretty crappy. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and pinch these back, cut them back, and because they're already starting to grow and branch from the bottom, and that'll kind of help them along their way, and probably either today or this next week I'm going to come through and give them some fertilizer just to help them out a bit after the freeze. This bed is a chunk of mignonette, which I love. Pretty little white flower. And then my bupleurum, which came as plugs from Farmer Bailey. Those look great. All right, last area is the bulb area. You can see I've added shade cloth. What I usually do is just put up T-posts. I drape the shade cloth over the top and just zip tie it. And I did that this week because the temperatures have been up in the 80s or high 70s. And the ranunculus especially do not like that. So I am shading most of them. I left these sections open because my shade cloth wasn't long enough, and I figure, well, I'll just see how this area does compared to this area this week. But next week it should cool back down so I can take the shade cloth off. But all of the plants look great. Their growth looks great. These should probably be blooming next month. I am trying some butterfly ranunculus, and I didn't realize that they are so much bigger. Like the leaves, the plants, they're so much bigger than the regular ranunculus, but they all look great. Very excited to see how these do. Here are the anemones. I do have some, so over here or back there on that row, but these two rows are all anemones. I planted these before the ranunculus, and they always start to bloom before the ranunculus, and they are starting to put out kind of their first blooms. You can see right here, the first blooms with anemones are always short, so you've kind of got to just, you know, let those go or pick them for yourself. But after the first few blooms start to pop up, they will get taller and longer and be more usable. But very excited because these all look great. Probably come in and give them a little fertilizer this next week. See if I can boost them on their way to putting out some blooms. So yeah, that is February on a South Texas flower farm. Everything I would say overall is looking great. I feel like I'm doing well timing wise. I'm keeping up with stuff pretty well. That's also because I'm not having to harvest a lot of flowers right now. So we'll see as the next month comes on how that all goes. But I'm excited. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for spring. I think I'm going to have some beautiful, beautiful flowers. I'm excited to get the U-pick back open. I'd love to have it open for spring break in March. We'll see if that happens, just with the progress of all the flowers, but definitely hopefully by April, be able to have people coming out here. But yeah, I think that's it for now. I've got to run. I've got to harvest some more tulips and get going with my farm tasks. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so close to 3,000 subscribers. If you think anyone else would like my content, if you know someone growing in the South in a hot climate, show them my channel. I'd love to hit 3,000 people, 3,000 subscribers soon. So I appreciate you so much for being here. Comment if you have any questions or requests for videos, and I will see you guys next time.